Hi, my name is Erin Jeffords, and today I'm going to present our poster, which is a fall prevention program in community dwelling older adults using the Fall Efficacy Scale 1. This study was put together with myself and 4 occupational therapy students at Lenore-Rhine University in the fall of 2019. All of the students have since graduated and are licensed occupational therapists. At the time, they were occupational therapy students. So the reason that we chose this population is because falls are the leading cause of traumatic brain injury in older adults over the age of 65. Falls are the leading cause of hospitalization and accidental death over the age of 65. And the evidence is very supportive that the fear of falling, that 30 to 50% of older adults fear falling. So we actually allocated a group in the community of older adults that consisted of 30, our population size varied from week to week, but we averaged around 25 members a week. The average age was 76. And they attended a weekly senior ministry meeting in their church at Riverland Hills Baptist Church in Irmo, South Carolina. And part of this meeting time, they would discuss different topics every week. So I went to the director and proposed that we would come for 8 weeks, and each week we would discuss an evidence-based topic to mitigate falls. We compromised per their schedule. They had some issues with a 6-week program. So our first week, our initial week, and our final week, our first week and our 8th week were pre and post testing. So we used the Fall Efficacy Scale as our testing measure. And with the Fall Efficacy Scale, I'm actually going to with the Fall Efficacy Scale, the Fall Efficacy Scale is a series of 16 different items. And on the questionnaire, we use this because it was from a health literacy viewpoint, it was a very easy to administer scale. It's 16 questions with items such as, do you have a fear of falling with making a meal or going up and down stairs or walking in crowds, with 4 being very concerned and 1 being not concerned at all. So on a 16-point questionnaire, the evidence strongly presents that it represents fear of falling among older adults. So each week we targeted a different topic based on fall risk prevention strategies that were evidence-based per the literature. Our literature we found PubMed, the National Institute of Health, CINAHL databases, as well as the National Council on Aging. Our intervention for the first week was home modification and fall risk prevention in the home. They were given the Home Fit Guide through AARP and the Home Fit Checklist, through AARP. And we put together a brochure of home modifications that were less than $25, so things that were cost friendly. They really enjoyed this week. I think overall this was probably one of the more popular weeks by attendance. The second week we focused on medication management. We used handouts and literature from the National Institute of Health. They have a falls-free initiative, the National Council on Aging and National Institute of Health. One of the handouts that we gave them was a handout related to medications that can contribute to a higher fall risk. And we talked about medication management through the lens of an occupational therapist. The third week, we provided timed up and go, the TUG balance screen. We were able to screen around 30 individuals this week. And we also had a donation from a local orthotist of supportive diabetic approved footwear. So we had about 30 pairs of shoes because we didn't have the appropriate size for every person. We were able to allocate shoes to many of the individuals that attended that week. They actually had put this week in the church bulletin. So some of the attendees that came were not in our testing group. We were able to still use our testing group, and then we had some other attendees outside of our testing group. The fourth week, we did a Staying Steady, which is a evidence-based fall prevention balance series, and with handouts. This was something that the stakeholders very much requested, was that we incorporate exercise in one of our weeks. The last week of the actual series, we did a bingo size game to consolidate all the information from the previous weeks with prizes. So this was a fun week to do a little consolidation to make sure that they remembered all of the information and education that we were giving them. The fall efficacy scale was given in the final week, and on the scale, like I previously mentioned, it's 16 different factors and 16 different questions. And so if you scored in the 28 to 64 range, that's a high concern. The 20 to 27 is a moderate. 16 to 19 is a low concern. Our participants, the initial week was a moderate to severe concern. And interestingly enough, the final week post data, after the final week of the series, our scores had actually increased from an average of 27.5 to 51 to 28.72, which is a severe concern about falls. So we had a mild difference, so no significant changes among the questions. Some of the positive data was that the average participants attended more than 3 sessions, and 84% of the participants that attended recorded no falls within the last 8 weeks. So we actually asked them to record on the bottom of their questionnaire if they had fallen within the 8-week series. And more than 50% attended more than 3 sessions, which I thought was a surprising number, because they definitely hadn't had a educational series like we were providing, and to know that they were interested in the tools that we were providing them. So we were able to raise awareness in the community, and they were able to kind of model off of each other. That increased volition for continued community health and well-being. Our results showed an increase in the fear of falling, possibly because the weekly sessions consisted possibly because we perseverated on falling is one of the theories of why there was an increase in falling. So we used on our poster, you will see the conclusion is that it raised awareness about fall risk prevention. Increased awareness can present increased fear and perseveration. They learn from each other's experiences. In the future, I would like to seek out more community dwelling seniors in larger groups with a larger sampling size. I would like to possibly find a comparison group and investigate a different tool to use. So instead of focusing on measuring the fear of falling, my interest would be to measure the number of falls pre-test, possibly a 3 months prior to the series and 3 months after the series, to see if an educational series mitigates falls versus in relation to fear of falling. I would like to thank Riverland Hills Baptist Church and the members of the Oasis Senior Ministry. I would also like to thank my 4 students, Kaylee, Lauren, Sydney, and Rebecca, that took this project, which was my passion area, which is fall risk prevention, and made it come to fruition. And I would like to thank the South Carolina Occupational Therapy Association for allowing us to share this data with the SCOTA members. Thank you so much. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me, erinjeffords@gmail.com. We also have a QR code at the bottom of our poster, which you could scan for future reference. Thank you.